Reading for March 30th, Science of Mind, A Philosophy, a Faith, a Way of Life by Ernest Holmes. Reading from page 491, paragraph 1, through page 493, paragraph 1, using inclusive language.
The divine ideas. 1 Corinthians chapter 4, verses 8 and 9. Even in our troubles, we are not cast down, and though we appear to be deserted, we are not destroyed. All our experiences are working to the end that we learn the lesson of life and return to the Father's house as freed souls. We should not despise apparent failures, the temporary chagrins of life, for they are salutary, leading the soul to the inner Christ, the way, the truth, and the life. When the experience is complete, the lesson will be learned, and we shall enter the paradise of contentment. We do not look at the things which are seen as being eternal. Behind the visible and changeable is the changeless reality, the eternal one, working in time and space for the expression of itself. The divine ideas stand back of all human thought, seeking admittance through the doorway of the mind. If we look at love long enough, we shall become lovely, for this is the way of love. God is love, and if we gaze lovingly at joy, it will make its home with us, and we shall enter its portals and be happy. If we seek the divine in people, we shall find it, and be entertaining angels unawares. God's ideas and attributions are eternal and cannot change. In change is the changeless. In time is the eternal and timeless. In things, the Creator manifests its power and glory forevermore. Immortal clothing, 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verses 1 through 10. This body in which we seem to live is not the eternal body. We have a body not made with hands, eternal in the heavens. As our thought reaches up and on to that greater truth, we are clothed upon from heaven. That is, we more perfectly pattern the divine and consequently more completely manifest the eternal. We do not wish to be unclothed, but clothed upon. This is an interesting concept, for it implies that immortality clothes itself in different forms, more beautiful than those which now appear. We are to know no person after the flesh, but even Christ after the Spirit. Thus are we swallowed up of life. Death is overcome, not by dwelling upon it, but by contemplating eternal life. It is the belief of the writer that should one become completely unconscious of death and all fear of it, one would never know that they died, even though they went through the experience of passing from this life to the next. Death would be swallowed up of life. It seems probable that when the last enemy is overcome, we shall pass from one experience to another at will, that the soul will clothe itself in a body on whatever plane it finds itself, body which will express the soul at that plane. We are to know no person after the flesh, but after the Spirit. The inner man, Ephesians chapter 3, verse 16. To be strengthened with might by our spirit in the inner self. The inner self is Christ, and Christ is the Son of God. The inner self is revealed by what it does. As we do not see God, we do not see the real self. We never see causes, only effects, but the effect loudly affirms the nature of its cause. The Spirit of God dwells in the inner self with power and might. The outer self reflects this spirit insofar as the intellect allows it to come forth into expression. When Christ dwells in us in love, which is unity, we are able to understand the things that saints have understood. Saint simply means an unusually wise and good person. All saints have been human beings just as we are, for God makes all people alike. The universe plays no favorites. To be filled with the fullness of God is to manifest our true nature, which is Christ, the Son of God, the power that worketh in us. The power is the power of God, and if we admitted no other, we should ever be satisfied, happy, prosperous, well, and complete. The endless creation, Ephesians chapter 3, verses 20 and 21. World without end. This refers to the endless creation of the Almighty. Particular worlds will always begin and end, as do cabbages and kings. But creation itself, the necessity of God's manifestation itself in time and in space, will never end. If creation could end, then God would end. As this is unthinkable, it follows that world without end, or worlds without end, are necessary to the expression of spirit.